Hello, and welcome to the MedEdits YouTube channel. Today I'm going to discuss the top 3 pre-medical extracurricular and scholarly activities that you need to get into medical school. Let's get started now. My name is Dr. Jessica Freedman. I am a former faculty member and admissions committee member at the Icahn School of Medicine at Mount Sinai. I am also the founder and president of MedEdits Medical Admissions and the author of several top-selling books on Amazon about the medical admissions process. In this talk about pre-medical activities, I am going to discuss what activities you must have, what activities you should have. I'm also going to offer general guidance on how much time to spend in each type of activity, including the minimum hours that you should spend. And I'm also going to discuss something called triangulated experiences and how triangulated experiences can help you to stand out in the medical school admissions process. Finally, I'm going to identify what MedEdits STAR students who have been accepted to schools such as Harvard, Columbia, and UCSF, to name a few, have done to get accepted to medical school and how many hours those students have spent on these key activities. Before engaging in any activity, it is important to keep in mind the pre-professional competencies that medical school admissions committees are seeking when they are reviewing your application. Now, the vast majority of activities will demonstrate multiple competencies. So we discourage applicants from sort of collecting experiences and checking off a list for each that might match with a specific competency. The first type of activity that we consider a must-have for pre-medical students is service. Now, service can take many different forms and can take place in a variety of settings. So it really is endless in terms of where or what you might do that might allow you to contribute to your community. But these activities fall under several large headings, and they can be community service or volunteer work, and that can be clinical or non-clinical experience, mentoring, teaching, or coaching, service trips, or maybe volunteering at a food bank or a homeless shelter. The minimum number of hours that we recommend students have in community service is 100. And MedEdits STAR students who have been accepted to top 20 medical schools have had upwards of 500 to 1,000 hours of some type of service activity. The second activity type that we recommend all pre-medical students have is clinical exposure. Typically, this clinical exposure comes in the form of shadowing a variety of physicians in a variety of settings. We encourage our students to get exposure to medicine and learn about how medicine is practiced across specialties and in a variety of settings, including the community versus an academic setting, outpatient versus inpatient, and urban versus suburban and rural. This will help you to understand how practice types differ across different settings. Now, keep in mind, there are many activities that will include exposure to patient care, such as being a scribe or an EMT, or maybe a medical assistant. The minimum amount of hours that we recommend students have is 24, and usually this is the student who has only done shadowing for their clinical exposure. Now, MedEdits STAR students can have up to 1,000 hours of clinical exposure or more, and this usually comes in the form of scribing or some other significant activity that largely took part in a clinical environment. The third activity type that we consider absolutely necessary for all pre-medical students is research. Research allows you to not only demonstrate your intellectual abilities, but it also demonstrates your commitment to lifelong learning. You want to find a research project that is independent and outside of the classroom. Now, while publications, posters, and presentations are certainly amazing accomplishments, they are not absolutely necessary when doing research. The minimum amount of time you want to spend doing research is a full summer. However, MedEdits STAR students spend between 1,500 to 3,000 hours over 1 or 2 years, which really allows them to achieve amazing results and to get some great findings. When deciding what activities to participate in, you want to try to identify themes in your experiences and interests. You don't want to collect experiences and do things just for the sake of putting them on your application. You want to pursue your interests organically, and you want your experiences to convey your passion for and interest in medicine. For example, maybe you're very interested in neuroscience and you are a neuroscience major. Then you did neuroscience research. And finally, you then founded a not-for-profit teaching neuroscience to children after school. In every activity you participate in, you want to think about the impact that you can make through that activity. For example, think about what results you can talk about from that activity, or outcomes, or what change have you made? Have you made any really valuable contributions? In other words, you want to be more than just a participant in all of your activities. To stand out in the medical school admissions process, it can be helpful to have a spike or a demonstrated interest in one activity in particular. MedEdits STAR students typically devote 1,500 hours or more to one activity that also unifies their interests, whether this be through research, clinical work, or service. Now let's talk about the importance of triangulated experiences. Triangulated experiences are essentially several activities in one, and they allow you to also demonstrate multiple pre-professional competencies through one experience. So let's say you are doing clinical research at an academic medical center. Not only are you doing research, but you are also gaining patient exposure and likely shadowing physicians in a variety of specialties. You are probably also teaching patients and maybe new members who are joining your clinical research team. And this then becomes a STAR experience because you are likely getting quantifiable results and making a real impact that is probably also resulting in presentations or publications. And these are the types of experiences that our STAR students participate in. Now let's discuss a triangulated experience of a different type. Let's say you are a student director of a not-for-profit. Through that experience, you are showing your commitment to community service, you are demonstrating leadership abilities, and what makes it a STAR experience is you are raising money, so you are showing quantifiable results, and you are increasing awareness of your not-for-profit. Now let's put it all together. The primary experiences that all pre-medical students should have are service, clinical exposure, and research. Now, to become a STAR student like MedEdits students who get into schools such as Icahn, Johns Hopkins, UCLA, or Penn, you want to think about other things such as themes, spikes, the impact you can make, and triangulation. So be sure to subscribe to this channel and visit our website at www.mededits.com. Thank you.